There we go. All right, at 6 p.m., this meeting will come to order. Please go ahead and call the roll.
Sardina,
Here.
Benjamin,
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Holden,
Here.
Tarts,
Here.
Bates,
Here.
Nestor.
Here. Is there anyone desiring to be heard?
I had a gentleman come in to Village Hall about 15 minutes ago, and then I informed him that the meeting was going to be on Zoom. He wanted to just ask a question about the beavers down at the park. The beavers have been active again, kind of gnawing down some of the smaller trees along the pathway in the park. We did contact the beaver trapper, and he should be out this month to help us deal with the beaver population, and that is what I informed him of, but I did want to put his question on the record.
Did that person give you a name at all?
He did not. He's in town. I know the face, but I did not get a name. It was pretty quick.
That's fine. Just
It was
let
Mike
DP.
Edsel. Hello, it was Mike Edsel.
Mike Etzel? Okay.
Mike, yeah.
And maybe just let DPW know, because I think they worked on that last year.
Yep. Craig called him, and so they're aware of that.
Okay. Anyone else desiring to be heard? Consent agenda. December 19th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
I heard Bill. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. No communications, no committee reports. Report of the administrator.
Yes, I wanted to first say Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. We are going to be very busy this year. We have already, been pretty busy with tax collection, utility bills, all that good stuff. So I'm very excited for this upcoming year. I think it'll be very positive. We are going to have an election update here. The period for nomination papers to be turned in has closed. We had 3 people turn them in. Bates, Meyer, and Tarks all turned in their papers, had enough signatures, and they will be on the ballot in April. There will not need to be a primary for the village offices here, but there could be primaries for other seats. Hamilton did inform me today that there will not be a primary for Hamilton School District. So it could come from Menomonee Falls or the county that they have a primary. But right now, it is not looking like there's going to be a February primary at this time. Tomorrow, we are going to be having the new water fountains put in at Village Hall. That'll be done first thing in the morning, probably take a couple hours. And it'll be ADA accessible and have a bottle filler. We haven't had one in some time here. People have been using the faucets, and I'm hoping that we can kind of get some working water fountains in here. And then I wanted to also let you know that Marlon Fisher, who was a previous police chief in Butler, he passed away a few months ago, and the police department went there and in uniform and was there on behalf of the village. And as a result, Marlon Fisher's widow has donated $1,000 to the Butler Police Department, which we took in today.
Nice.
So we wanted to say thank you to them for their generous donation on behalf of their family. And I did want to make a quick note also, if anybody's interested that turned in papers, I am going to be picking names for the ballot order on Friday at 9 a.m. So feel free to come to Village Hall if you want to be there for the placement of the names on the ballot. But of course, you don't need to be there. But I just wanted to put that out there. End of report.
Can we just do rock, paper, scissors for that, or no?
We have to pick out of a hat by statute.
Does it really matter?
No.
Up to me.
All right. New business, discussion and possible action on an amendment to the contract with the Butler Professional Police Association, local number 312, to correct wage scale errors.
So what the previous contract that we approved, I believe, mid to late last year, was a 4% raise. And with that 4% raise, the police department's union provided a wage table. The wage table was not 100% correct. It was off in a couple areas where there was a couple pennies used. If you look in the packet, there is, I believe, the last page of the packet, Dave had circled a number of the kind of amounts there, and each one of those red circles is an incorrect allocation, or I should say an incorrect wage scale calculation. So it's just a couple pennies here and there. There are a couple that are a little bit bigger, about 30 cents per hour. But there was, out of the 7, 2 were in favor of the village and 5 were in favor of the officers. I talked with our labor attorney about this. He said this isn't a reopening. This is just kind of an addendum almost. It's a memorandum of understanding, kind of saying we understand that this is what the wage scale should have been. So nothing too crazy, just making those corrections to what we already approved.
With that, I'll make a motion to make that amendment to the contract with the Butler Professional Police Association to correct the wage scale errors.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item B, under new business, is discussion and possible action on Village of Butler entryway and wayfinding signage, design and request for proposal. So I had asked Ben to put this on the agenda so we could have a, since we're kind of starting over on the project, I wanted to bring it back to the board and just get some input as to how much we want to spend, size, guidelines, and just kind of get the board's overall feeling as we move forward as to how we want to approach this. The money, since we had money for the 125th and 131st in the capital budget that we did not use. So when we're going forward with this, it could, because now we have the money for all Hampton Avenue signs, don't we, Ben?
Yes, we have about
So-
80,000-ish set aside with the previous year's allocation, and then this year of 50,000.
So I
The total?
get,
The total
Excuse me.
we have set aside is 80,000.
so this time for this proposal, what I was kind of thinking is that we could get the Hampton Avenue sign, the library sign, and the Village Hall sign all done at once, since we have the funds now. And then that's kind of why I put this on the agenda, is just so we can, the one that we had started with last year, we had about $19,000 a sign. And I was wondering, it was very elaborate and it looked very nice. And I'm wondering if we could, what the board's thought on is doing a little bit not as elaborate, and see if we can get a little bit more bang for our buck. But I wanted to open that up for us to discuss, so we have some guidance.
Would
I'd
we
like
get
to
a better
second
rate by adding another sign? Instead of 2, now there's 3. I mean, well, maybe there's a little more of a discount in quantity.
I would assume that there would be a benefit because they're not going to be coming out more than one time. My guess is that they would probably install all the signs at once. So there could be a discount in the installation because they don't have to bring their equipment out and whatnot. And there could also be a fabrication discount too, since there's going to be, if they're fabricating 3 or however many we want to give them all at once, there could be kind of like an economies of size type of thing going on. But we won't know that until we get the quotes.
Okay.
So with that, we're looking at just doing 3, coming and going on Hampton, and then our 4 Village Hall, and then the library. Were we gonna do anything for the park like we had talked about, or no?
Well, yeah, my initial thought is because we have the money, we could entertain most certainly if we went with a lesser elaborate sign, I would say. We most certainly could why not consider the 5 big signs, which is the park, library, Hampton, 2 on Hampton and Village Hall. So, I mean, that's something that we most certainly could entertain is the 5 big signs at once. Or we can do whatever we want.
That was what we had, or was it a 2-year phase? Initially, we were gonna do just Hampton Avenue in the park next year?
Yeah, so what we were gonna do is a 2-phase, where last year we were going to do the entryway, and then this year we were gonna do the kind of the wayfinding. So the library's outside sign, the Village Hall outside sign, and the park's outside sign.
And depending on if we get any kind of discount or modify the signs to save money, we're looking at doing the whole thing then this year because of the extra money that we do have in hand.
Correct.
I see. Okay.
Do we have?
And we basically have to start the bidding. Sorry, Brad, I'm talking over you. We have to start the bidding all over. Is that correct?
Correct. So from what I understand, and again, I wasn't here in 2020, but from what I understand is we never technically went out for bid on it. I think that we gathered several quotes internally, and they gave us kind of an estimation of what they were going to do and the cost involved and what their designs were going to be. However, we never went out for an RFP. It is my belief that we need to go out for an RFP because we're going to be spending up to $80,000, and the state says that we need to go out for bid if it's $25,000 or more and it's a public work. So I would also like to do that because it does cement it a little bit more with our timelines, what we want, what we're looking for. And it's more solid than what we had before, which was literally just this. It was just a proposal. There wasn't anything really backing that. There wasn't really even a timeline set before.
Or a contract per se, like the
Correct.
RFP, yeah.
And that's where we had to arm wrestle the guy for 8 months.
I'm okay with doing that. I don't think we need anything elaborate. I think I'm more concerned with something that's gonna last us a while and look decent, right?
Yeah.
Too elaborate at 25 miles an hour, you're not gonna really appreciate that anyway.
Right.
And that's for everybody that goes 25 miles an hour.
Are we
I guess
That's
thinking,
the guys that were parking. That was the guys that were just parking. This one we're going a little faster.
So I
are
guess
we-
or what are you guys looking for? I guess you kind of all know what they were going to look like, but I'll kind of show them up here really quick. Do you want we had like stone, and we had I think that they were lit from behind so you could see it at night. Is that something that you guys are still interested in? Is having that lit from behind and the stone and stuff like that? Or do you want to go more with something that's more of an updated version of what we have out there already, which is kind of that just the wood sign with the Butler logo?
I would be in
Still
favor. Go ahead, Pat.
The entranceway signs, I would like to see those lit up at night.
I agree. So another question that if we put out an RFP, doesn't that sort of like open it up to whatever these companies that would put in a bid would put out there for a design, or do we provide that design as something, as kind of a baseline when you put out?
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking, because we can set parameters. We can say we want it this tall, we want it this color, we want this logo. So we can specify what we want. We can say the color of brick, we can say whatever we want, and then we can say, as an alternate proposal, because we can ask for like an upgrade. Okay, here's the basic sign that we want, but can you provide us with an alternate bid for if we wanted to go a step up and have the stone and have this, how much would that cost? And then we can kind of compare, saying, oh, this more elaborate sign is 70,000, and for all the signs, and the less the less extravagant sign is 40,000. Okay, well, what do we want? What's a bigger bang for our buck?
And I would say that a fair amount of the design and fabrication should be left to the sign designers rather than the 7 or 8 of us trying to figure out what color and how big, and, I mean, let's come up with the basic dimensions and, lighting requirements and that sort of thing, but as far as picking out brick color or whatever, I
Sure.
don't wanna go down that road. We could argue about that forever.
I think it should have at least the colors of our logos.
Yeah, yeah, something that works with all that. And that's what graphic designers do.
Let them
That's
design,
not what I do at all.
right?
With that said, though, what we agreed on for last year, I thought those signs were in good taste. They were, they're not electronic, but definitely an upgrade to, what's there. And I think we agreed on that based on the expectation that there was a decent longevity with it, to your point, Mike. So
Right.
is there a way to put out, to craft that RFP, to use some of those components as a baseline, but not constrict any of those designers from, their spin on it?
Yeah, what I can do is I can get, we have the measurements. So, of what the signs were roughly going to be. I can't necessarily give them, here's what we had, make it look similar, because that would be, to me, that would be a copyright issue. That would be a theft
I
of
see.
intellectual property. But I would say giving them the dimensions that we had, kind of giving them the general color scheme. Here's our logo, make something that looks nice. We want it lit from behind. That's kind of what I'm hearing, is something of similar size and similar characteristic of what we had before. But I think that we can put that in there saying, here's what we want to have on it. Here's what make the color scheme that looks nice with this, and that, the brick that would look nice with this type of design. So I think that, with that type of specification, I can definitely put that in there. And we'll obviously review it before we approve it, so you can see the language and make tweaks to it as you guys want.
Right.
And then go ahead.
I just said right.
Oh, okay.
I'm good.
And then is there any possibility of entertaining the electronic sign for our main one?
And I think that could be that alternative. So if we're pretty satisfied with what the signs look like from the previous contractor, with the dimensions and kind of the makeup with some of the stone and the fabrication, then we can definitely put in there saying an alternative. Can you please provide us with a quote on an electronic sign? And we can always take a look at that and see how much that would cost, because maybe the cost moderated, came down a little bit, who knows? But I can definitely put that out there.
Which sign would you want with electronic, Mark?
The one in the median strip.
Both of them? We're doing two
The
at
one,
median?
okay. The one in center of town, not the ends, but just the one that's in the center.
At Village Hall?
No, what is that one that's got all the stuff for the Lions Club? I don't know that.
By the bank.
Yeah,
Okay, so that I think is like that's an old Chamber of Commerce.
Electricity.
so that sign's not even being replaced at all then, or just taken down, or?
I think that what we were planning on doing for that sign, the electronic sign, again, this is my remembrance, is we were going to move. I think we were going to possibly look at moving the Village Hall sign to the median out by the lights there. That's what I thought. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah, I remember hearing talk about putting the electric in on there from the stoplight and all that. But whatever, I
I
mean,
thought we were
whether,
gonna-
even if we located it there or at Village Hall, I personally see a nice value in having an electronic sign, but I recognize that it's pretty costly as well, so. Wherever it would
I
be
thought we were
located,
gonna put it,
I think that could be included in the RFP.
I thought we talked about putting it right on the corner by the parking lot there by the Village Hall, right on the intersection corner, the corner right there by the Village Hall, on village property, not in the medium, back by the Village Hall, but out by the edge of the street, by the sidewalk.
okay. Yeah,
That's where I thought we were talking about it before.
okay.
That's what I remember. I remember we were going to put it in the same spot. We were gonna do maybe an upgrade to that lion or yeah, I don't think we were gonna do anything with that in the median because one of the discussions too for the electronic sign was it gonna be a distraction
Mhm.
if it was in the median itself? And would that pull people's eyes away from the road? But I guess for this discussion, that's probably the way we could do it is I'm under the impression that it would be 125th, 131st, the Village Hall corner, the library, and then the park. Those would be the 5 signs that I'd be looking at.
About the one down on 124th
Well, that's 125th. I miss,
or
Is it-
125th.
I think that's more 125th.
Yep.
But it's in between 124th, 25th.
125th-ish.
124th and a half. How's that?
So
Well, that's the 5 signs, but were you gonna put it on the corner? Where the old sign used to be there by the sidewalk? All
Well,
right,
yeah, the 2 on Hampton would, well, the 4 signs on Hampton would go in the exact same spots. So, and then the park, we were gonna figure out where about to put that. But it was gonna be on the northeast corner, somewhere in that field.
all right, all right.
So are we kind of thinking like 80,000 for the whole project, or are we looking a little less than that?
Whatever we can get it. I mean, if we get it cheaper, that'd be
Yeah,
fine.
more than 80. But certainly economy to scale, right?
Yes, okay, so that, Ben, does that help us get at least maybe a proposal together to submit?
Yes, so I have the 5 signs. We want at the very least, the entryway signs lit up, the logo color scheme, electronic sign as an alternate, and up to, but not to exceed 80,000.
And the park?
Yep,
The
I have
sign-
park entry, the 2 entryways, the library and the village hall.
Right.
And then was there any other signage in the park, smaller signs? Am I misremembering that? There wasn't anything else?
There's one down near the gravel parking lot. We repainted that sign not too long. There was like another sign that DPW had in storage or at a different place in the park, but they
Okay.
took it out, they repainted it and put it down by the gravel.
Okay, but that's not part of this. We didn't talk about
Correct.
that. Okay.
And I think we were gonna then do some additional smaller signs we had talked about on 127th-ish in Hampton with like arrows pointing toward the park. That was one of our discussions, but
That's why I'm asking. I have some remembering of what you're saying there, Paul, but I didn't remember specifically. So, okay.
and I don't think we ever put that in the budget for further discussion. I think our plan was to get these 2 started and then go from there. And since that didn't happen, since we've got the money, we may as well just try to do the whole project at once.
Do we
Yeah.
want to include a directional sign then on the corner of 127th and Hampton? Pointing people north to the park?
We could throw that in and just see what it costs.
As an option?
Cause was that all that was gonna say is just park?
I think so. Because we were, at the time we had talked about it, we had talked about the biggest confusion with GPS is that if you put the building, if you put the community building in your GPS, it doesn't take you to the community building. So people are, with all of the events and different things going on, people were getting lost and needing directions to find the park. So by having that directional there, that was what we had kind of discussed, but there was nothing ever solidified, through that conversation. We were looking at the cost of the initial signs and how we were going to do it over the 2 years.
I think we could add that in. It would only be one sign that would say Village or Frontier Park. And then like my thought would be an arrow pointing north on 127th. So that seems like that would not be a huge cost. We most certainly could look into that.
Yeah, I put that down here. as an item as well.
They'll itemize each one of those items so we can nitpick.
And I think, Ben, for the alternative, for the electronic sign, for now, that would just be on the village hall.
Right, not all of them, just one.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
And there was, in past discussions, there was, I know the library had talked about an electronic sign as well. So we would want to make their sign, if they wanted to do that, adaptable for that future project, if they ever wanted to undertake that.
Mike, didn't the library get a quote a while back for
Yeah.
electronic? sign? And it
Yes.
was,
It was through the same company,
and it was
Ah.
really expensive, wasn't it?
and it was.
Hey, just a second. I've got the president here.
40,000 and the library board voted it down.
For
And
the
that was
one.
both for a sign and, that was electronic sign and the frame and everything, I think.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Installing an electronic sign.
So that was voted down. So they just want a regular sign there now
With letters.
with letters, some
With the letters.
replaceable letters.
As long as Charlene is right there, Bill, do you, for the library, do you want it where you can put your letters in? Or what, where you can put messages on there? Kind of what you
Yes,
have now?
Yes.
Okay.
We-
And
We need to
then,
be able to put different messages in, slide the letters in and out. So it needs those brackets that allow us to use the letters.
and then right now, I think you have two brackets on your shelves on each side. Do you want two rows? Do you want two rows again, or you want more rows?
If it doesn't add to the cost too much or restrict the space too much, it would be nice to have 3 rows on each side.
Okay.
But I don't know what the logistics of adding a row would be.
And then you like your sign the way it is now. You don't want it like just faced out. You don't want just one sign faced out to Hampton.
No.
No, I don't believe so.
All right, so you
Nobody
wanna-
ever brought that up, so I'm saying, yeah, parallel, perpendicular to the Hampton.
Yep, okay. All right, so then that's not something we have to worry about, the electronic sign then, or any future, so we can take that out then.
Okay.
Yeah, for the library, yeah.
Okay. Does anyone else have any input on that? Any additional input? Okay, then can I get a motion for Ben? Go ahead and just go ahead with the request for proposal.
Make a motion to go ahead for the request for proposal for the signage as discussed.
I'll second that.
I heard Pat. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 In opposition, say nay. Motion passes. And I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion to adjourn.
Heard
I'll second
Brad.
it.
Second,
Pat, did you get the second on that?
yes.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposition, say nay. Motion passes and meeting closed at 6:29. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, all.
That all.
Good night.
New Year.
All right.